Good morning. Sava here from Football Heritage TV. Hope you are all very, very, very well. Spurs fans, we're going to talk about our defence or lack of it. So far this season, Tottenham Hotspur have conceded 57 goals and counting. 4 games to go, 57 goals conceded. Where has it gone wrong? What has happened, Tottenham fans? We know we've not been good at the back for years, but why is this year so worse than the other years? Now, before we get into that, let me just give you a little stat. Let's see if anyone can guess this before I give you the answer. Bear in mind, this is a pre-recording, but before people think I'm typing in the chat and speaking to you, I'm not. When was the last time Spurs conceded 57 goals or more in a Premier League season? Can anyone think how far back we must have to go? The answer is the 07-08 season. Now, ironically, what happened in the 07-08 season? It's the year we won a trophy. It was the one-day Ramos year that we won a trophy, but still conceded 57 plus goals in the season. 15 seasons later, we're back at that landmark. And it looks like we're going to concede 60 plus, because do any of you think Spurs will keep clean sheets in the next 4 games? So what has happened? Where does the inquest begin? In Poch's era, Tottenham Hotspur had Walker Rose at fullback and Alderweireld and Vertonghen as one of the meanest centre-back partnerships in Europe. And that year we conceded 26 Premier League goals. 26. Not even half of what we've conceded now, if my maths works out right. Not even half. 26 Premier League goals in 38 Premier League games. What's happened since then? What's happened? 7 years ago, 7 years ago, what has happened? Okay. Carl Walker left. Cool. Carl Walker left. Right back. It's just a right back, right? Surely it's a right back. You don't need to worry about that. It's not going to be the downfall of our back 4. Or is it? Carl Walker was replaced with Trippier, who was a good fullback. I mean, having an excellent year this year, but he's a good, solid pro who's had a good career. Danny Rose started to decline. Vertonghen and Alderweireld started to lose their legs a little bit. Can still play, but they didn't have the legs to get about that they once had. They were never blessed with engines and good legs between them, to be honest. But when they got a bit older, it went downhill very, very fast. So now that defence over the next 2, 3, 4 years slowly got ripped apart and was no more. So what did Spurs do about it? We've tried right-back options. We've tried Trippier, Aurier, Walker-Peters, Emerson Royale, Matt Doherty, Pedro Porro. The list goes on. Right backs that Spurs have tried. Lucas Moura's had a stint at right wing back. What's happened at left back? We've played Ben Davies there since Rose. We've played Sessegnon there since Rose. We've played Perisic, the left wing back, since Danny Rose. And unfortunately, all of the names listed above, all of the names, and I think I just mentioned 11 footballers there, maybe 10 footballers, didn't hit the heights of Rose and Walker. Didn't have the defensive capabilities of Rose and Walker. Weren't as good going forward as Rose and Walker. That dynamic duo was gone, never replaced. Surely that comes down to scouting. Who's scouting these players? Who bought these players? We'll come back to the scouts in a minute. Now let's look at centre-half, because let's be honest, this has been a shambles. So you've got Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Yes. Superb centre-back pairing. And whilst Alderweireld and Vertonghen were at the club, I'll call him Toby for ease from now on, the centre-backs sitting behind them on the bench were Davinson Sanchez, Ben Davies, and Eric Dyer. 3 players of which play nearly week in, week out. Maybe not Sanchez, but Davis and Dyer, nearly week in, week out, those three play. So essentially what's happened is we've gone from all the understudies that weren't good enough to get in Poch's team with that brilliant defence. Now there are starting players. Now, if one of them comes in, if it had been Ben Davis for Rose, but you still had Walker, Toby and Jan, you go, okay, that's all right. But all the understudies are now in. And then you look at the centre-backs we've signed since then. Let's start with who came through the youth team. You've got Tanganga, who's come through the youth team as a centre-half. Is he good? Not for me. I think he's been a victim of injuries and not getting sustained run of games. But for me, whenever I've seen him play, rash, jumps into things, positionally, I don't think he's great. Built great for a centre-half, but there's just something, I don't think he's good enough at Tottenham. Then you look at it that we bought in Joe Rodon. You know the year Joe Rodon was bought. The year that Jose Mourinho wanted Skriniar from Inter Milan and ends up with Rodon from Swansea. Then you look at Longlay's coming on loan. Romero's come in. Now, all of those players I mentioned, Tanganga, Davis, Dyer, Sanchez, Rodon, Romero, Longley. Not one of them is fit to lace out of Ireland and Vertonghen's boots. So we're looking at a problem here that we had a great defence and yet again, no succession planning. At what point throughout that 6-7 year period, because there's a lot I've just talked about there from a 6-7 year period, at what point did a director of football, a chief scout, the owner, the manager grab the ball by the horns and go, what are we doing here? What are we building here at the back? Where's our succession to Jan, to Rose, to Toby, to Walker? Where's the succession? The only one I could argue would be Trippier for Walker, would be the succession. Other than that, when has it been addressed? Now, let's bring it fast forward to this season, 22-23 season. It still doesn't tell me why it's worse than ever. For example, if you look at the Jose seasons, or the Jose, or however we pronounce his name, when he played a back three, he had Ori on the right, Reggie on the left, Rodon, Dyer, and Sanchez. That's worse than what we've got now. So how have we possibly gone from that only conceded 48 goals that season to this that's conceded 57 plus whatever we let in the last 4? Where did it go wrong? Is it the number of managerial changes? Because to be fair, Conte's teams did let in a lot of goals in certain games, but we let in 6 under Stellini, 4 under Mason. There's 10 straight away. So where does the fault lie? This can't be one man. We can't look at a individual manager. We can't say, oh, this was Poch for not succession planning. This was Jose for not buying in the right player. This was Nuno. This was Conte. This was Stellini, Mason. At what point do we look at this and say, somebody at the top of the club has to take accountability for the recruitment, for the lack of succession planning? 57 goals. There are only 4 teams in the league that have conceded more goals than us. That's mental. That's crazy, crazy behaviour. So how have we got to this stage? Is it the setup? Are we playing wing-backs when we shouldn't be? Would a 4 solve it? Is it because we haven't got defensive midfielders that can sit and protect? Is it because we haven't got ball players in midfield that can keep the ball and take the pressure off the back line? Is it all of the above? I would suggest it is. Now, whilst I'm not whilst I'm not a fan of the 3 at the back or the wing backs, I accept that even if you play a 4 at the back, you need solid fullbacks. You need a commanding centre-back. One of the centre-backs can bring the ball out, sure, but one of the centre-backs needs to be commanding, needs to be talking the other through the game. All in all, whoever comes into this club now, we're hearing Nagelsmann, Alonso, company, whoever it is, They need to start at the back. We need to get defenders. And unfortunately, it's embarrassing the number of goals we conceded. It's almost comical at times. And I know fans will go, oh, you're not a real fan. You think it's funny. I think it's funny because of how bad it is. Like this bad. You think in years gone by, in the last 15 years, there's been times where we said, God, we're awful at the back. But this year, it's taken it to another level. And this year, we were meant to have the best defensive coach in the world. So what hope is there? What do we do moving forward? I'll be really interested to know all your thoughts. But just how bad has it been? Give me words. How bad has this been? How many more will we concede? I think we'll concede another 6 in our last 4 games. So I think we'll end on conceding 63 goals. Give me your predictions and we'll have a look at them at the end of the season. Please like, please subscribe. I'm going to put a banner up to show you. But look, we are like 36 away from 5K. Smash the like, smash the subscribe button. Whichever club you support, I do videos of all clubs. And everyone is welcome to Football Heritage TV. I'll be on later today. I'll be on at 5 o'clock for a new show with Dan Potts from the 12th Man podcast called The North London Divide, talking about Spurs and Arsenal, the rivalry, what's happened to both clubs in the last year. And then at 6 o'clock, I will be on with Henry Wright and Sean Butler from Spurs Talk Show. So join me on those 2 shows. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Sorry that I don't look prettier for you, but it is what it is. Much love. See you soon. Please subscribe.